in every policy, these are subject to certain terms, condition and exclusion. So here exclusions are total or partial cessation of the work of the or retardation or interruption of the cessation of the process or omissions of any kind because of this riot, strike and malicious damage. Work going on or things are in process, all this gets damaged or stops because of interruptions of RSMD. So that will be not allowed. Then further permanent or temporary dispossession resulting from the confiscation, commandeering, requisition or destruction by the order of the government lawfully constituted attorney. If because of that the loss occurs, that is also what other is excluded is burglary, housebreaking, theft, larceny, or any such attempt or any omission or any kind of the person, whether or not such act is committed by in the course of the disturbance of the public peace, commandeering, requisition, or destruction malicious by the order of the government. Then another is storm, cyclone, typhoon, tempest, hurricane, tornado, flood, and inundation. These are all act of God perils. Here also loss or damage, destruction or damage directly caused by all these perils, AOG perils, are allowable, excluding those resulting from earthquake, volcanic eruption, and other convulsions of the natures. Because why these are excluded? Because by the separate policy or add-on covers, it can be covered. And probably by add-on covers in the fire policy. Then impact damage. Impact damage, that is loss of or visible physical damage or destruction caused by the property insured due to impact of any rail or road, vehicle or animal by direct contact but not belonging to the owner or the occupier of the building, because by their own vehicles it is not allowed, but by the third party public vehicles, railroad or vehicles or animals, if damage occurs, those are covered in the impact damage policy. So here exclusions are the insured or any occupier of the premises or their employee also, while acting in the course of their employment. If these people also damages, then loss is excluded. Then subsidence and landslide, including the rock slide. In this peril covers loss, destruction or damage directly caused by subsidence of part of the site on which the property stands, or landslides or rock slides, excluding normal cracking, settlement, bedding down of the new structure. So when the new structures are built, so filling of the earth may not be so proper and completely by the workers or the contractors. So maybe during the next year or after two, there will be some settling of the ground, and because of that settling, for the new constructions are not covered. But here I will say for what period these are to be excluded, it is not mentioned. It may be for the 1 year or 2 year also, I believe, at the most. Because during the currency of the policy, if there is less rain, proper settling may not be there. So there should be some time period, but it is not given from to what construction years. Then what is excluded is settlement. Hello. Then there is a settlement or movement made up of the ground. So some filling is there, and though because of that building gets damaged, it is also not covered. And further, what is excluded is coastal area or river erosion. As we know, particularly this Assam and Bengal and all that, where the rivers are running with the heavy water during the monsoon period, those make the erosions of the land, and where the huts and buildings were standing, those also gets damaged or fall down in the river itself. So that is also not covered
No, the thing
at
is
coastal area and erosion. And
further,
further, what is not covered in the landslide, which may occur or will be caused because of the defective design or workmanship or use of the defective material. Then demolition, construction, structural alteration or repair of any property or groundwork or excavation, that is also not covered. Then bursting and or overflowing of the water tanks, apparatus and the pipes. This is the peril covered. But bursting or overflowing of the water, okay. Then missile testing operations done by the government, and those may cause the heavy losses. So this peril is also covered. These are accidental ones. Another is leakage from the automatic sprinkler and installations. In the industry for the fire production, all such things are installed. So leakage, there may be some leakage or failure of the pipelines or automatic sprinkler, and they may damage particularly sensitive equipment, say electronics one, or the stocks which gets damaged because of the water are covered. But what is not covered, if any repair to the building or premises is going on, and because during that period, if these pipes or sprinklers gets damaged and leakage occurs, these are excluded because the owner or contractors would take the precautions for that. Things are not getting damaged, or the stocks to be or items to be removed from such places to a safer distance. Then similar to this alteration and repairs to the building, also repairs, removal and extension of the sprinkler installation itself. Because of that also leakages are there and damage the property, those are excluded. And further defects in the construction known to the insured. If the insured knows such things may burst sometime and make a leakage of the water and will damage it, so we'll say some willful negligence, so that is not also covered. Then last is the bushfire. Bushfire covers, what is bushfire? I will say bushes gets damaged, grow up surrounding the property, or property is located in such a situation, there are up to the distance, there are bushes are there, jungle like things, not exactly the jungle. So if any fire occurs, so that is we call a bush fire, and that will spread further up to the insured property and will damage the insured property. That is also covered peril. Insurance company has to pay the loss. But what is not included, that is loss, destruction or damage caused by forest fire. So this is limited to the bush fire only, not by the forest fire. Forests are declared by the particular government, state or country, will say. So all such things are the perils which are covered by the fire perils, and loss damage to the insured property occurs. Insurance company covers these losses, damages and pay for to the insured. Next.
Yes, sir. Mahesh Sharma, sir. Just a second. I would like to inform all the attendees. We are muted you all, and the unmuting facility will be enabled after the deliberation of the presenter for any of your questions or interaction. And the YouTube link, live streaming link, also provided in the chat box. The members can also circulate it in their known groups, so that so many members which are not unable to join this Zoom meeting can get benefited. Please make a note of it, sir. Sir, continue, sir. Sharma, sir.
Then we discussed on the coverages in the FSSP, in short, the special fire, standard fire and special perils policy.
Just a minute, sir. I hope that the slide is jumped, sir.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Then basic definition will say what is fire in the insurance policy means. We talked much about the fire damages, what is fire and all. So here in brief the description of the fire is given, that is fire lighted for definite purpose is not considered fire. Say for example, in our gas stove we are lighting the fire. So that is the definite purpose. It is not a fire. We do not consider this for the insurance purpose unless it is broken out limits. This fire is limited to the defined or specific area only around the burners or steel melting or metal melting furnaces in the it's what is it? Crucibles only. So
Furnace.
if the fire is there in the furnace also specific or boilers also specific area only fire is confined. So that for the insurance purpose we do not consider the fire, and if any damage occurs because of that in that area are not considered for the settlement of the claim. So only if beyond that species, if spreads and damages by directly because of the fire flames and damages occur to the properties, different properties, we consider, or in the fire policy that loss can be admitted and reimbursed. Then no difference if fire comes to the property or the property comes to the fire, like unlighted grate. So here, what does it mean? In a property, if fire arose out and that damages the property, we'll say that fire comes to the property. It spreads and damages this property inside the insured property. Sometimes it may be that outside fire flames will be reaching to your properties and will damage it by the fire, or I will say pollution or contamination also. We discussed about the bush fire. In the bush fire, there will be some fire in the bushes outside the insured property that spreads and come to the insured property. That can be one of the case for the fire comes to the property and damages the insured property. So in both the cases, fire damages can be considered. Not that there was a fire in the third party premise and that because of heat, flame and the smoke, etc., damage our property will not be given. So that is covered. So both the above cases, fire breaks its limits and causes the ignition of the property, breaks its proper limits and comes into the contact with the fire. There is an accidental fire loss, we say.
Mahesh Sharma, sir,
हाँ जी.
do you have, if you have any complication or if any difficulty in deliberating, it seems like just you like tired, you are tired. If at all you have any difficulty, please let the Rajesh Gupta sir can involve.
Yeah,
Okay.
take a rest
Yeah,
if you feel so, sir.
If you feel so, that's what I.
Yeah.
I take a cough syrup and then
Okay. Rajesh Gupta,
If you
sir,
are
please.
comfortable, no problem. Otherwise,
Rajesh Gupta, sir, please.
General exclusions, excess. See, all the fire policies excluding dwelling, the policies meant for dwelling, they attract a excess clause per event per insured. See, with effect from policies on or after 1/4/2010, it is per event per insured. That means any occurrence per insured, if there are two incidents occurring simultaneously in the premises, then it will attract two excess clauses. If there are insured has two premises in different places covered by the floater policy, since the insured per event in different premises, then also there will be two X clauses because two different premises are there for that particular insured. Per event, per insured, per location it will be. You say policies having sum insured of 10 crores per location Now this has been changed because of the only the policies which will be this thing will be expiring till 31st 3/2022. All the fire policies which has started prior to 1/4/2021 and which will be expiring on 31/3/2022, they fall under this category only because after this thing 1/4/2000, 1st of April 2021, the IIDA has issued different fire policies under the name of Suksham and Lagu policies. That is, Suksham is for sum insured up to 5 crores, and any policy with a sum insured from 5 crores above up to 50 crores is falling under the Lagu. The Lagu, it is having a flat deductible excess of 10,000 rupees, while Suksham has a deductible excess of 5,000 rupees. So all the policies after 1/4/2021 will be having those excesses. But since this topic has been considered as standard fire and special perils policies existing as on 1/4/2021, because some of the policies will be expiring by next month, so the topic was taken up. Lagu and Suksham will be taken up later sections. The access clause for AOG peril is 5% of the claim amount subject to minimum of 10,000 each and every loss. Even for the fire incident also, it is 5% of the claim amount subject to minimum of 10,000 rupees for this policies up to 10 crore. Other perils, that is rock slide, this impact damage and others, that is 10,000 rupees. I think Maheshji, will you carry on from here?
Okay. I think this also you have completed, sir. Accept.
Sir, you want to carry the same with Rajesh Gupta, sir?
No problem, sir.
Okay. Please.
And thank you, Rajesh sir. I am continuing now. From the other exclusions are war and kindred perils, radioactive contamination, pollution or contaminations also are in the exclusion. But what is not in the exclusion is pollution or contamination caused by the ensued peril itself. Now here we'll say that earlier pollution or contamination is excluded, and here they say because of the ensued peril. What is this? So I will give simple example. Fire occurs in our building, and because of the fire, there will be the carbon particles and the various smokes, gases, which may damage or deteriorate our food grains or clothes or color of the building, etc. So in general, we say that because of the heat and smokes, we give the losses. But just because pollution contamination is covered, which occurred because of the ensued peril, we give. Otherwise, it may not be damaged directly by the fire. Another example is bush fire. Say because of bush fire, that is an ensued peril. That is not damaging the property and coming near our building and it seized out. But it will create a smokes and toxic gases and also the carbon particles entering our property and damaging it. So this bush fire bring the ensued peril and creating the pollution and contamination in the surrounding, and because of that our building gets damaged. That also can be considered, not only by the fire flames damage itself. Then this is the pollution contamination damages because of the ensued peril, correct? Because ensued peril has created all such things, but there will be the cases where the pollution and contamination are creating the ensued peril. In some situation, flammable gases, that is also pollution, will say flammable gases somewhere in the surrounding enters into our premise, and some you are switching the power in our house, and because of that fire takes place. So that fire occurred. No, somebody say how the fire occurred. because that flammable gas entered our building, and because of this spark taken place while switching the electrical point, there was a fire, that damage. So that also is considered, which occurred because of the contamination and pollution. Then what is not included is loss to any bullion, curious works of art, antique, exceeding rupees 10,000, stamps, coins, case, etc., unless expressly stated or let's say covered in the policy. Then what is not covered is stock of cold storage due to the temperature changes, because these are not the fire damages, so these are excluded. But this can be covered by the add-on covers, paying the extra premium. That too, this temperature change occurs because of non-electricity which occurred at the power station because of the ensued peril, some fault. Then lost also the stocks of the cold storage that cover stock as well as machinery also, that also can be covered by the add-ons. Now the loss to the electrical machine apparatus fitting by overrunning, short circuiting, self-heating, electrical leakage from whatsoever cause. So whatever occurs, whatsoever cause, I remember one of the senior surveyor explained much on this, that I repeat, whatever cause means lightning also. Earlier I said that if because of the lightning, if the electrical equipments gets damaged, that is not covered by the fire policy. So here it is again specifically mentioned, because that electrical equipment, why gets damaged? Heavy current at high voltage of the lightning passes through the electrical equipment and it burns inside, causes fire inside the electrical equipment because of the short circuiting. So that is why that equipment is not covered. But this exclusion is only applicable to the that particular machine only, in which the such short circuiting occur or fire evolve out of that. But if the fire flames arose out of it and spreads into the surrounding and damages the other properties, so because of those properties which are damaged by such fire can be covered. Now, what is excluded is further architect engineers fees in excess of 3%. Up to 3%, it is a normal covered by the policy. But more than 3%, it cannot be given, but can be given with the add-on covers, with the specified sum insured in the policy separately. And further point is debris removal after the loss occurs. These debris are to be removed to clear the space. For removal of that debris, expenses up to 1% of the claim amount is covered. But in many of the times, it will be very less amount, and insured will incur very high expenses, even for destruction or disposal of such sensitive materials which otherwise insured cannot do it normally by throwing on the open grounds or burying into the ground may not be allowed, and will have to be sent to the incineration purpose also, where the charges will be high. So if such debris removal expenses are high, insured can take separate sum increase in the policy. Then because of the fire, there will be interruption in the business or disturbance in the houses. So any consequential losses, if fire occurs, then business will get disturbed. And because of that, there will not be production, or items will partially or fully gets damaged, which are partially, those will have to be repaired like that. Because of that, there will be a lesser realization of value of that particular item product in the market. So he will lose the profit also. Then sometimes it may occurs for a year or 6 month factory premise or business will get stopped. Then his customers will be, because of urgent requirement of the material or otherwise, will go to the other places. He will lose the market. So you will say, okay, I have all such losses also, but these are not covered. These are consequential. Policy covers only the direct loss or damages because of the fire and those allied perils. And loss of spoilage due to retardation or interruption of any process caused by the ensued peril. Say in some factory, fire breaks out, that fire burns the electrical fittings, switches, and all such things. There will not be a power to the electrical motors, is machines, reactors will not work. So whatever stock in the process, mixing, etc., going on, that will gets damaged. So there will be some products also which requires the continuous processing, heating, cooling, etc. And when the process stops, insured either fully or partially may not be in a position to get the output of the required batches in the desired specifications. So whatever damage occurs because of that, it is also not covered by this policy. Then loss by theft during or after occurrence, except as provided in the RSMD, burglary or theft due to riot strike are covered under the fire policy. RSMD covers the damages, loss or damages directly caused due to this, but not because of some malicious act. Malicious act means malicious damage is the person who damages the item, and malicious act maybe he is stealing the things and taking away it. So that malicious act losses are and theft otherwise also directly not covered by this standard old policy, but now these are covered to some limitations in the new policies. Then earthquake is also an add-on cover, so it is excluded here. Then loss to the property in the place other than which stated in the policy except machinery, equipment temporarily removed for the repairs, renovation, etc. for not more than 60. So of course, loss damage to the property in the place. Say stocks are moved at the other locations. The policy is given for the specified insured, specified location for specified place, and specified sum insured, etc. All mentioned in the policy. If someone moves this item to the other place, definitely that place is not insured, not mentioned in the policy. So loss at other place cannot be given, but this can be covered so far up to the March, even for the short period, I will say. If it is mentioned, third party, if the stocks are lying at the third party goods held in trust, goods where the are lying in the other premises, that premise owner or the factory owner can also cover that property, or the insured also mention and take a separate policy or separate sum in the policy if he is sending for reprocessing the goods at other place. I request Rajesh sir to take care.
Rajesh Gupta sir, please. Next slide, please. Nitin ji.
Rajesh Gupta sir, you need to elaborate the explosion and implosion also, which was skipped during the deliberation of Sharma sir.
I think he is not there.
Rajesh Gupta sir.
I am there, but the problem is
No
that
problem.
I was not ready up with that.
Okay.
I have taken syrup. I can continue, no problem.
Okay.
Mahesh Sharma sir, at your convenient stage, please have an.
You can have some rest for 2-3 minutes, sir. 5 minutes.
Okay. Let him continue, sir.
Ramesh Babu.
Yes, sir. No problem.
Meanwhile, if
these
have a break, sir, for some minutes.
No issue. I will.
Yeah, please.
I will deliberate these things.
Okay.
These are all add-on covers.
Yeah.
Architects and consulting engineers, fees and surveyors in excess of 3% of claim amount. This is one add-on, and the removal of debris in excess of 1%. Since 1% of claim amount as a debris removal charge is inbuilt, so in excess of 1% is added up to maximum of 10% of sum insured. That is add-on regarding this removal of debris and deterioration of stocks in cold storage by the change of temperature due to power failure, not due to any of covered peril under STFI, but due to power failure. If there is any temperature change that resulted in the deterioration of stocks in the cold storage, that is also the add-on. That up to the sum insured. That limitation is up to sum insured. The deterioration and the second class due to the deterioration of stock in cold storage by change of temperature due to loss to the machinery at premises by insured peril. This is another add-on. If the subsequent of any peril that was covered under STFI operated and subsequently the machinery was failed, whatever the chiller that was failed, because of that the stocks which are perishable in nature and stored in the cold storage, they sustains and they are susceptible for deterioration. In such condition, it is also add-on.
Ramesh Babu, I'll add on in this point number 3. Deterioration of stock in cold storage by the change of temperature due to power failure at power station by insured peril. That yes. Power station is insured power station, sir. Mind it is not the government power station. If there is a failure in that, it is any insured peril operating in the power station. That is his panel and other things. Suppose there is a flood or there is a fire incident. Because of that, the panel got burned, and thereafter it could not be replaced immediately, and there was a change in temperature. The temperature could not be controlled, and because of that, deterioration took place. That is the factor in that. And the second one, A, is deterioration of stock in cold storage to change of temperature due to loss to machinery at premises by the insured peril. That is if there is a machinery breakdown, and if he has a machinery breakdown policy is operating on that. Suppose there is a short circuit in the panel, and because of that, the compressor has stopped, and there is no cooling because of it, and that compressor could not be put into immediate use because of that breakdown, and that there is a change of temperature, and it deteriorates the stock. That is covered in that. But the peril has to be operated in the insured power station and machinery, not outside that, sir. I am over. Ramesh.
Yes, the intent of these two classes is to because the storage point is remote to the machinery actually by virtue of its phenomena. It is remote to the machinery. Whenever there is a change, there is a damage in the machinery or in the power supply, as stated in the clause clearly. At the power state, so the HTR of the insured, whenever the insured peril operated and subsequently power failed, that leads to the deterioration of the stocks. These conditions are actually added on because of they are remote to the cold storage is remote to the chilling equipment and all. So that is it. The another one, this is a forest fire. This is also up to some insured. This is also the add-on. Bush fire is there, the forest fire is an add-on cover. Yes, sir. Next slide. The impact damage. The basic peril which is inbuilt in the STFI, the impact damage is due to road, rail, or animal. This is inbuilt. Wherever if the road, rail, vehicle or cranes and all equipment belonging to the insured, and because of the impact resulted from these equipment or vehicles, if any loss taken place, that is the add-on. That can be opted as an add-on. And the spontaneous combustion. Sixth one. The spontaneous combustion, this is an inherent waste by virtue of its nature of that particular material, the chemical phenomena within which induces the temperature rise within the material that is add-on, which is basically excluded on basic STFA policy. This is
Here I wish to add something
Yes,
on
please.
spontaneous combustion.
Yes, please.
The spontaneous combustion is restricted to that particular commodity which is subject to that inherent vice, but the subsequent spread of fire, if we can establish and if you can identify that particular commodity, then that spread of fire is automatically covered if spontaneous combustion add-on is not taken.
Yes. That will be the covered peril for the surrounding stock or something. Yes, and omission to ensure addition, alterations or extension. If at all there is a change, any addition of equipment or anything, alterations in the building and all, they can be added during the currency of the policy period by opting this add-on period. And another one is
means, sir,
yes.
here it means in omission to ensure, if say I have taken the policy from 1st of April, and if I was having a certain set of machinery with me for which I had proposed the insurance, although I am not stating the list of machine in the proposal form, and during the currency of the policy, say in the month of June, I have added one more machinery amounting to 1 crore, and in the month of August, if I suffer a loss, and in that loss due to fire, if that newly added machine in the June got damaged, so will I be able to claim for that particular newly added machine in the original policy if I have not taken this particular add-on, or that machine will stand excluded from the original scope?
Yes, sir. Provided that has to be capitalized in the books of account. Insured.
No. Then this particular add-on will have no effect. No, then.
Yes. Yes, exactly, sir. Continue. You want to continue, sir?
To me?
You want to continue?
Sir, one more thing I would like to add or correct. Rajesh Gupta Saab said about the temperature failure, deterioration of stock in the cold storage by the change of temperature due to power failure at power station, they say. So at the insured's place, say small factory is there, so he may not be having the power station. Word power station means it is a generating, distributing and sending. That is a power station, we normally say. Or smaller where distribution is there, we say the switchyards also. Substations. So power station means of the particularly state government's power station only. Otherwise, they should have used the word distribution system, electrical distribution system, or whatever suitable words I will say. If that is the failure of the electrical, they cannot use the word power station. Gupta Sahab may be correct as per his knowledge, experience, and submission of the reports and accepted by the company. But dictionary meaning of power station is different, sir. Not at the insured place. That is distribution board, I will say. So that will further check it up and correct ourselves. No problem.
Definitely. Will you continue, sir?
Yes, I can continue. Next, what is that? Then earthquake and fire shock, which is exclusion in the fire policy, now can be, with the add-on can be covered. And there are different zones in the India, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 is the highest. So that will be the higher charges, say 75 rupees per lakh rupees. And likewise, it is reducing in the policy. Then spoilage of damaged material cover, stocks in specified blocks. Okay. It is 5 times of the policy rates and 2.5 times of the policy rate. Add-on can also be there. What we saw, the exclusions are there. Then leakage and contamination can also be covered, where the tanks located in the insured's premises are there. Where the tanks located are elsewhere, that is the different rates are given. Then temporary removal of the stocks to the other premises, other institutes or factory owner, up to 10% of the policy rate. With that, it can be covered, and some institute to be mentioned in that. Then loss of rent clause. Loss of rent, owner is giving is building on the rent basis, monthly rent basis or yearly, to the factory owner, and this loss occurs, then he will not be the tenant may not be giving him the rent. So for that also, by the add-on, owner of the building or factory can cover policy rate and for the specified sum. And there is one more: additional expenses of the rent for an alternative accommodation to the, it is for the tenant. So tenant say ke, building is damaged, so he says ke where to go. Somebody will say ke you go to some other places, but if the add-on cover is there in the policy, insurance company can allow that also. This is add-on expenses of the rent, and it can be, it is for the tenant only. Say for example, factory person is giving the rent of 20,000 rupees to the building owner or the factory building owner, and for if the accommodation is made for him, goes to the other place, there the charge is rent is 25,000 rupees. Then what is the additional expense of the rent? It is 25,000 new minus 20,000 what the insured was getting. So additional 5,000 rupees will be the additional expenses of the rent. That can also be covered. And what I understand is maximum period in the policy, this can be given is up to 36 months. And for that, some insurance should be there. Earlier he goes, he will be getting the less amount, because everybody would like to do his business in his set premises where he's doing the work for the years together. Then startup expenses. Yes, we know with all such fire perils, business will get disturbed to such extent that whole of the plant or the project or the factory will have to again to be started up. And for starting up, there will be the different expenses. Some equipment will be requiring gases, some equipment will be requiring the heating oils and like that. So whatever expenses are there which cannot be covered otherwise can be covered by such add-on covers of the startup expenses. Then terrorism also with the RSMD clause can be covered as an add-on by extra premium. Okay, I think with this we are completing, and it is almost 1 hour also. Somehow it is over, and I am thanking you all the participants, technical teams, special invitees, and my learned members who also supported me in finalizing this PPTs, and also supporting me particularly Ramesh Babu Saab, Rajesh Gupta Saab, then Om Prakash Saab for supporting me with the sore throat. They helped me to some extent to continue and also take rest for some minutes. Thank you very much, sir. And whatever I deliberated here are as per my knowledge, experience, and understanding. But I will make a disclaimer here. These are not the final words, because insurance is very wide field and every person can take his own interpretation and meaning of it. And that is the reason many of the claims are not settled directly, happily, and some are going to the consumer forums, courts, and so many places, arbitration. Uh, I request the members also, whenever such occasion occurs, to advise them, also to discuss, consult, and arrive at some suitable decision, so that claims can be amicably settled, not making loss to any insured or the insurer. That was the meaning. and my little effort in repeating all such technical things, which I feel and believe again and again. If we read the things, then many times, 1 or 2 times or 3 times, we ourselves will be in a position to arrive at the perfect decision and meaning of the words, terms, conditions of the policy. So with that, I take your leave, sir, and closing my webinar function at present. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Sharma ji.
Yes.
I think we have this immediately when there is a difference in opinion somewhere. Bhatia Saab, he has come in and I have unmuted him also. Please, Bhatia Saab, आपके कुछ views उसके साथ में जरूर चाहेंगे. And the other members also, please. Now the discussion is open. Kindly raise your hands so that we can allow them one by one. Please.
Okay.
Bhatia Saab.
Just okay. Just a minute. Please off the screen sharing, sir.
Okay, sir.
Unmuting option also.
Yeah.
Also given. Unmuting option is also. Bhatia sir, please.
Thank you very much. It was very nice presentation. I have noted down few points which I want to share with all of you, that what the surveyor and insurance companies think about and what insured thinks it on the other side.
But yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
With your permission, sir, इसको थोड़ा सा हिंदी और इंग्लिश दोनों में साथ साथ चलाइए ताकि हमारे सभी लोग आराम से इसको समझ सकें और
मुझे दोनों भाषाओं में कोई परेशानी नहीं होगी.
थैंक यू सर.
मैं जो बात कहना चाह रहा हूं वो ये है कि बहुत सारी ऐसी बातें हैं जो इंश्योर्ड दूसरी तौर पर सोचता देखता है. हमारे सोच और ज्यादातर बीमा कंपनियों की प्रभावित होती हैं. उसके ऊपर एक विषय अभी जब शर्मा जी प्रेजेंटेशन दे रहे थे उसमें था गुड्स हेल्ड इन ट्रस्ट. ये एक ऐसा विषय है जो बहुत डिस्कशंस में आता है. किसी टाइम में ये एक इम्पॉर्टेंट था कि गुड्स हेल्ड इन ट्रस्ट को डिक्लेयर किया जाना चाहिए. उसकी वजह ये थी कि मेरे गुड्स अगर आपकी प्रेमिसेस में रखे हुए हैं तो मैं उसको इंश्योर कर सकता हूं, और आपने भी उसको इंश्योर कराया तो डबल इंश्योरेंस पेमेंट ना हो, इसलिए उसका डिक्लेरेशन होना चाहिए. लेकिन अगर मेरे पास कोई चीज प्रोसेस करने के लिए आ रही है, मिसाल के तौर पर आई एम रनिंग ए गारमेंट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग यूनिट और आई एम रनिंग ए गारमेंट फैब्रिक प्रोसेसिंग यूनिट, तो मेरे पास कपड़ा आता है जिसकी मैं रंगाई भी करता हूँ, प्रिंटिंग भी करता हूँ और उस पर कई प्रोसेसिंग करता हूँ. अब किसी वजह से वो कपड़ा जल जाता है या मेरे यहाँ कोई ऐसा इंश्योर्ड पेरिल हो जाता है और मैंने उसको इंश्योरेंस कराया है, क्योंकि मेरे पास जो स्टॉक्स हैं वो ब्रॉडली यही स्टॉक्स हैं. केमिकल्स वगैरह तो बहुत कम है, लेकिन मेजर स्टॉक वैल्यू इज दैट ऑफ दीज फैब्रिक्स. तो क्या मेरा उसमें इंश्योरेबल इंटरेस्ट नहीं है? अगर मैंने उसको स्पेसिफिकली मेंशन नहीं किया है तो क्या मुझे उसको डिनाई कर देना चाहिए? क्या जिस बंदे ने मुझे कपड़ा सप्लाई किया है वो मुझसे उसको नॉर्मल ट्रेड में डिमांड नहीं करेगा टू बी कंपनसेटेड? लेकिन हम सिर्फ इस वजह से उसको रिजेक्ट कर देते हैं कि उसमें इंश्योरेबल इंटरेस्ट नहीं है या उसने उसको हेल्ड इंटरेस्ट डिक्लेयर नहीं किया है. मैंने अगर नहीं भी डिक्लेयर किया है तो सिर्फ इतनी सी ही पॉइंट का इन्वेस्टिगेशन होना चाहिए कि क्या इस स्टॉक का डुप्लीकेट इंश्योर तो नहीं हुआ है कि उसने भी इंश्योरेंस की हो और हमने भी की हो. ये एक ऐसा कंट्रोवर्शियल पॉइंट है जहां पे मैं महसूस करता हूं कि सर्वेयर्स को इंटरवीन करना चाहिए कि सच ए डिमांड ऑफ ओनली राइटिंग गुड्स हेल्ड इन ट्रस्ट इज नॉट मेंशन्ड इन द पॉलिसी, हम उस क्लेम को रिजेक्ट कर दें और चीजों को देखें ही नहीं. मेरा मानना ये है और इंश्योर्ड्स ज्यादातर यही सोचते हैं कि व्यापारिक तौर पे हमारा उसमें इंश्योरेबल इंटरेस्ट है. थैंक यू शर्मा जी. your thumbs up for my opinion.
Yes,
तो
sir.
एक इस पॉइंट के ऊपर हम लोग सब मिलके राजेश गुप्ता ने बहुत अच्छी बात कही थी कि हम एक किताब लिखें या हम ऐसी इश्यूज बनाएं जिसमें हम रेफर कर सकें. तो ये एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट है जिसके ऊपर हम लोगों को कंसेंसस बनाना होगा कि वेदर इट इज मेंशन्ड और नॉट गुड्स हेल्ड इन ट्रस्ट, it should be treated on merits and not merely on words. I hope. दूसरी बात एक स्पॉन्टेनियस कंबशन के ऊपर थी. दिस आई वांट टू क्लेरिफाई कि कई बार कई कंपार्टमेंट्स में या कई हीप्स में चीजें रखी होती हैं. मिसाल के तौर पे कोयला है या कॉटन सीड्स है, ये these are vulnerable for self combustion और स्पॉन्टेनियस कंबशन. तो इसमें ये रूलिंग है कि अगर मेरे 2 हीप्स पड़े हुए हैं और मैं जब सर्वे करने के लिए जाता हूं तो दोनों को जला हुआ देखता हूं और कोई सोर्स नहीं है, तो इट इज ऑब्वियस कि एक हीप में तो स्पॉन्टेनियस हुआ होगा, दूसरे में नहीं हुआ होगा. तो एक हीप को ही हम एक्सक्लूड करेंगे, दूसरे हीप में ये कवर होगा. This is one thing which you all must understand. Now, on spontaneous the combustion issue, मैं आपके साथ एक चीज और शेयर करता हूं जो केस अभी कोर्ट में चल रहा है और जिसमें मैंने ओपिनियन दी है. एक कॉटन सीड्स की फैक्ट्री में आग लगी और सर्वेयर और इन्वेस्टिगेटर ने उसको इसी ग्राउंड के ऊपर रिजेक्ट कर दिया कि ये स्पॉन्टेनियस कंबशन है. केस मेरे सामने आया कि आप अपना ओपिनियन दीजिए. तो आई वेरी डीपली स्टडीड कि वेदर इट इज ड्यू टू स्पॉन्टेनियस कंबशन और एनीथिंग एल्स. अब अगर आप स्पॉन्टेनियस कंबशन की कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स के ऊपर जाएं तो हर एक मटेरियल कुछ स्पेसिफिक सर्कमस्टांसेस में ही स्पॉन्टेनियस कंबशन में इन्वॉल्व होता है. जैसे हम कॉटन सीड्स की बात करते हैं, कॉटन सीड्स को अगर आग पकड़ेगा स्पॉन्टेनियस तो 2 चीजें उसमें चाहिए. नंबर 1, देयर शुड बी मॉइस्चर इन दी कॉटन सीड्स, चाहे वो बरसात से हो या कहीं से पानी में भीग जाए. और दूसरा, वो स्पॉन्टेनियस कंबशन के लिए 50 डिग्री या 45 डिग्री से ऊपर ही होना चाहिए. ये दोनों चीजें होनी चाहिए. अगर दोनों चीजें नहीं हैं तो उसके स्पॉन्टेनियस कंबशन होने के चांसेस कम है. ऐसे सर्कमस्टांसेस में वी नीड मोर टू प्रूव कि ये स्पॉन्टेनियस कंबशन ही है. आई गेव द ओपिनियन कि इट इज नॉट स्पॉन्टेनियस कंबशन बिकॉज नंबर 1, दिस फायर टुक प्लेस इन द नाइट व्हेन द टेम्परेचर इज लो. Second was, it was in the enclosed chambers. It was not stored in open जहां पे moisture रात को ओस से या एटमॉस्फेरिक एब्जॉर्प्शन से आ सकती है. तीसरी चीज, जिन महीनों में जिस जगह पे स्टोरेज थी उस टाइम का टेम्परेचर हमें गूगल से मिल जाता है. व्हाट इज द एवरेज टेम्परेचर, मैक्सिमम मिनिमम टेम्परेचर, वो दोनों 25 डिग्री से कम थे. तो ऐसे में ये सोचना कि वो कंबशन है, ये छोटी छोटी एनालिसिस हमें करनी चाहिए. और आई एम श्योर कि वो हमारे हक में फैसला कोर्ट दे सकता है बिकॉज माय एनालिसिस वर मोर एनालिटिकल. तो दीज आर फ्यू थिंग्स व्हिच आई वांटेड टू शेयर. नाउ एक चीज और हमारे
Sir,
किसी जी.
But yes, sir, if you permit, sir, we can, because we have our that time limitations also, sir.
Okay.
We can have more deliberation from you
No
on the
issue,
subject,
no
sir.
issue. I conclude on this point only.
Please.
And I hand over to you.
Thank you.
Please.
No, this is open to all our participants who can put their questions, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yes, participants, please raise your hands if you have any type of questions with you, sir, related to our this topic, so that we can have a deliberation from our learned participants and faculties here. Sir, you can unmute, you can raise your hand so that we have some time limitations also. Within that, we can answer you that. Sir. This is our interactive session, sir. It is not one-sided, sir. Please come out. Yes, Bhavnesh Babbar, sir. Unmute कीजिए अपने आप को. Bhavnesh Babbar, sir. Unmute कीजिए. हाँ, आवाज आ रही है आपकी. बोलिए.
Sir, in industry, thermodic oil was passing through the pipes and suddenly the pipe got blast. The fluidic oil in not number quantity drained out on the stock lying there, and one of the laborer crossing got injured also. Is the fluidic oil or stock or injury that are covered in the fire policy?
Good, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir. Rajesh Gupta, sir. Okay.
May I
Vishal
comment?
Gupta. Yeah, Mahesh. हाँ, बोलिए sir.
Nitin Sharma here, sir.
बोलिए.
Unless there is a fire due to subsequent spillage of the hot thermic fluid, and that fire is set up and damaging the surrounding property, then it is covered. If there is no fire, simple spilling of thermic fluid on the oil and contaminating those items, then it is not covered under the fire policy.
Sir, stock भी covered नहीं है उसमें.
No, sir, unless there is a fire, see in which peril you are intending to put the claim, sir. It is a named peril policy finally, right?
Right, sir, right.
So you have to define under which policy we are putting the claim. Mere spilling of thermic fluid from the pipeline and spilling on the stock will not trigger claim under fire policy.
Right, sir, right.
Very correctly said, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir. बाबर साहब, आपके जो आज आपने आपने मेरे को क्वेश्चन आंसर्स के लिए भेजे हैं, केस स्टडी भेजी है, we will not able to take this time today, but definitely we will reply you there on that, sir. We will have a discussion on that.
Right.
Thank you. Anyone else, sir? सर, हमारा मकसद है कि हम इंटरेक्ट करें, हम एक दूसरे से बोलें, इसके ऊपर डिस्कस करें. कोई आपकी डिफरेंस ऑफ ओपिनियन है, यू प्लीज कम आउट विद दैट. जैसा कि डिस्क्लेमर किया हमारे महेश शर्मा जी ने, कि उन्होंने जो प्रेजेंटेशन बनाई है अपने अनुभव और अपने उसके आधार पे बनाई है. इसमें ये पेरिल्स का हर सर्वेयर अपने तरीके से उसको इंटरप्रिटेट करता है और कर लेना भी चाहिए. उसका अपना टेक है, क्योंकि सिचुएशन और सर्कमस्टांसेज अलग अलग होते हैं हर बार. सो दैट इज माय रिक्वेस्ट. इफ यू हैव, शशि भूषण सर कुछ कहना चाह रहे हैं?
नहीं, मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि महेश जी का जो पेपर प्रेजेंटेशन था वो बहुत ही अच्छा था, एंड इट वाज अ वेरी नाइस प्रेजेंटेशन. आवाज जा रही है?
बराबर आ रही है सर.
Thank you.
We are getting
nice presentation. It was a cool presentation, and presentation was with a very normal frequency, and I think he has given time to participant to understand, and I have no much more question, but yes, we have to now. Whenever we are presenting any paper on a standard fire policy, we have to dig out, we have to recover what the reason to form 3 more policies. So that aspect, that will be new that is approach to analyze the policy of this existing standard fire policy. What was the weakness? If we will go on discussing, then all the participants who are practicing in a fire surveyor will have in mind that earlier it was 1 policy, now there are 4 policies, 4 type of policies in fire. So that aspect we have always to keep, because this is not the only policy. But anyhow, the presentation was very nice,
and I think there is no question. And I appreciate his presentation in all angles.
Thank you, sir. Because it was on the basics, sir. We started with the basics, and yes, we will take deliberation on that new 4 policies also. Definitely, we are going to take that also, sir.
No, Prakash ji, my when you are talking on any character of Mahabharata, then we have to we have to consider another characters also.
Definitely.
So that this is my. I just asked Mr. Mahesh Sharma one question. On and after your presentation, can you give 3 reasons of creating new fire policies? Why a Sukh policy has been created? Why Lagu policy has been created? And why?
शशि सर आज के सेशन को इसी में वो करके बाकी क्वेश्चन दूसरों के ले लेते हैं सर. We will discuss it in the next time, sir. Next.
मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि इसको भी आगे ले लेंगे.
हाँ, definitely लेंगे सर. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
अरुण जिज्ञासु जी, नमस्कार.
ओम प्रकाश जी, महेश जी, प्लीज इम्प्लोजन वाला एस्पेक्ट रह गया था. इम्प्लोजन एक्सप्लोजन का वो थोड़ा सा एस्पेक्ट को वो कर दीजिए, टच कर दीजिए.
हेलो.
हाँ महेश जी.
अभी फायर पॉलिसी में एक जो पेरिल कंबाइंडली या ऑब्लिक करके डाली हुई है, एक तो एक्सप्लोजन है, दूसरा उसके साथ साथ इम्प्लोजन है. तो उसको समझाने के लिए मैं सिंपल 2 चीजें दूंगा. जैसे कि केमिकल रिएक्टर है सर, एक बिना इसका जैकेट का है और एक जैकेट वाला है. तो जिसमें बिना जैकेट का है और सिंपल उसमें लिक्विड को स्टरिंग वगैरह किया जाता है प्रोसेस के लिए, दैट इज द सिंपल रिक्वायरमेंट आई से. तो उसमें अगर क्लोज्ड है वेसल, वो प्रोसेस को उसका टॉप और सभी ओपनिंग क्लोज करके वाल्स वगैरह हम ऑपरेट करते हैं, या हीट करने से एक्सटर्नली विदाउट जैकेट करते हैं, नहीं करते हैं, या उसका नेचर ऐसा है, एक्सोथर्मिक रिएक्शन होता है उसके अंदर एक्सीडेंटली. सभी नॉर्मल केसेस में नहीं होता है, प्रोसेस चलती है, लेकिन कभी कभी कोई खराब मटेरियल आ गया या किसी ने खराब डाल दिया तो एक्सोथर्मिक प्रोसेस होगा. उसमें एक्सोथर्मिक प्रोसेस की वजह से गैसेस विल बी फॉर्म्ड, और वो इतना हाई प्रेशर क्रिएट करेगा कि वेसल को बर्स्ट कर देगा. तो व्हेन इट विल बर्स्ट इनटू द रैंडम फॉर्म एंड विद द लाउड नॉइस. और ये भी देखा गया है कि वो बोल्ट, उसका जो टॉप कवर है, बोल्ट्स को, फिक्सिंग बोल्ट्स को, क्लोजिंग बोल्ट्स को तोड़ के वो कवर रूफ सीट भी तोड़ के कहीं दूसरी फैक्ट्री में जाके गिरता है, वहीं भी कभी लॉसेस हो जाते हैं, ऐसे भी देखा है. और बाहर की साइड जो बर्स्ट होगा एक्सप्लोजन, तो उस ये डैमेज होगा, वेसल का डैमेज होना और बाहर की साइड से फूल जाना अंदर प्रेशर की वजह से, दैट वी कॉल एक्सप्लोजन, मीन्स आउटसाइड डैमेजेस कोई भी आइटम का. इम्प्लोजन का मीनिंग ये है कि सकम्ब होना. जैसे रिएक्टर का अंदर का वेसल है, बाहर जैकेट है, और जैकेट में मैंने बताया कि भाई प्रेशर रिड्यूसिंग वाल है वो फेल हो जाता है, कोई स्टीम रिलीजिंग वाल है वो फेल हो जाता है. तो बॉयलर का प्रेशर है 10 kg और जैकेट को 2 kg प्रेशर के लिए ही डिजाइन किया है, 2 kg पर सेंटीमीटर स्क्वायर. तो बॉयलर जनरेट करता है 10 kg या ज्यादा भी. तो बॉयलर को तो वहाँ कंट्रोल नहीं करते कि फुल स्टीम जाता है, जहाँ जहाँ भी जैसी रिक्वायरमेंट है, क्या नाम, डिफरेंट रिक्वायरमेंट, वाल्स, प्रेशर, हीट जो भी चाहिए, तो उस हिसाब से वो सेट करता रहता है वर्कर. तो कभी वो फेल हो गया या कभी किसी ने गलती से ज्यादा खोल दिया तो फुल प्रेशर चला जाएगा 2 kg के बजाय जैकेट में. जैकेट सर राजेश साहब मेरे ख्याल से आप तो ख्याल में होगा ना, रिएक्शन वेसल विद द जैकेट. हेलो
सर, आई हैव नॉट कम अक्रॉस एनीथिंग. आई थिंक आई विल रिक्वेस्ट आनंद अलकुटकर साहब को, मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा सर उसको एक्सप्लेन करने के लिए, बिकॉज इन्होंने पहले पीछे भी इसको बड़े अच्छे तरीके से एक्सप्लेन किया था. आनंद सर.
yes. पूरा कर दूं सर. तो जैकेट के अंदर जो प्रेशर होगा, जो रिएक्शन वेसल है उसके बाहर दूसरा वेसल लगाया जाता है, जैसे कि एक पतीली के अंदर दूसरी पतीली डालते हैं, उनके ऊपर के मुंह को क्लोज कर देते हैं। तो जैकेट और रिएक्शन वेसल के बीच में स्टीम प्रेशर बढ़ गया तो स्टीम प्रेशर बाहर तो बस्ट नहीं होगा, लेकिन वीकनेस पोर्शन अंदर का रिएक्शन वेसल होगा, तो उसको अंदर की तरफ उसको सकम कर देगा, जो रेडियल स्पेस है उसको कम कर देगा। तो देयर विल बी ए डैमेज inside of the vessel that we call a implosion, sir.
Collapse or failure. Yes.
Collapse of the vessel.
Yeah, correct.
Anand sir, please.
There is a difference in pressure. Explosion, that is inside pressure, is more as compared to outside pressure, and the vessel is unable to retain the pressure inside. We call it as explosion. And vice versa, if outside pressure is more as compared to inner pressure, it will collapse. So it is a difference of pressure would lead to explosion or implosion. Over.
सर आपने एक वो उदाहरण दिया था ना, वो इसका कोक के बोतल अंदर वो पिचक जाती है उसका।
One second please.
इम्प्लोजन का आपने उदाहरण दिया था ना, जब इसका कोक का बोतल पिचक जाता है, कुछ इस तरह का बताया था शायद आपने।
नहीं, शायद मैंने नहीं बताया।
ओके,
दूसरे को नहीं बोला था।
ओके, हरि प्रसाद जाजू सर।
हाँ सर,
प्लीज स्पीक योर क्वेश्चन सर।
good evening to everybody. My question is regarding insurable interest of one case which we have mailed WhatsApp to you. Please you and explain the same.
कब किया था?
शर्मा जी, चांद भाटिया जी को ले लीजिए।
ओके, चांद भाटिया सर प्लीज।
उत्तर
चांद भाटिया सर।
नहीं, इन्होंने इंश्योरेबल इंटरेस्ट का क्वेश्चन नहीं बताया, कौन से केस में इनको इंश्योरेबल इंटरेस्ट में प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है।
सर वो स्क्रीन पे आया है, बट उससे पहले आप इम्प्लोजन के बारे में कुछ बोलना चाहते थे। योर रेज योर हैंड।
देखिए, अभी मैंने
we can continue with the question which is on the screen, sir.
मैं जो कहना चाहता था वो मिस्टर आनंद ने खुद ही कह दिया कि इम्प्लोजन इज जस्ट रिवर्स ऑफ एक्सप्लोजन। अगर किसी वेसल में अंदर प्रेशर बढ़ता है तो वो एक्सप्लोड कर जाएगा, लेकिन अगर अंदर प्रेशर कम हो जाता है, एज राइटली पॉइंटेड आउट बाय मिस्टर आनंद, कि बाहर का प्रेशर ज्यादा हो गया और अंदर का प्रेशर कम हो गया तो वो कोलैप्स कर जाएगा। दिस इज व्हाट इज द इम्प्लोजन। 90% केसेस एक्सप्लोजन के आते हैं, इम्प्लोजन के बहुत कम आते हैं।
भाटिया सर जी, मैं ऐड करना चाहूंगा कि जो अंदर का प्रेशर कम हो जाता है, कोई ये कहेंगे कि भाई कैसे अंदर का प्रेशर कम हो जाता है, तो कभी कभी क्या है कि वो मटेरियल को टेक आउट स्टीम जो बनती है उसको वैक्यूम से भी खींच के दूसरी जगह लेके जाते हैं। तो अगर जो वैक्यूम बढ़ गया इनसाइड द वेसल, रिएक्शन वेसल, वो वही फिनोमिना है कि बाहर का स्टीम प्रेशर जैकेट का जो है स्टैंडर्ड भी है, लेकिन अंदर वैक्यूम बढ़ गया तो सकम हो जाएगा, अंदर की तरफ पिचक जाएगा। और दूसरा सिंपल एग्जांपल मैं दूं तो जैसे आपका ऑयल का टीन लाते हो, केरोसिन का या ऑयल का, अगर उसको गर्म करेंगे तो गर्म करने से क्या होगा कि अंदर का ऑयल हीटअप होगा, उसका वेपर बनेगा, वॉल्यूम बढ़ेगा और वो डब्बे को फाड़ देगा। दैट इज एक्सप्लोजन इन सिंपल लैंग्वेज। और दूसरा ऐसा है कि पानी या उसमें डब्बा में स्टीम भर दो, बंद कर दो, उसको ठंडा कर दो। तो ठंडा करने से क्या होगा, पहले जो वॉल्यूम था स्टीम की वजह से फुल्ली ऑक्यूपाइड था, ठंडा करने की वजह से वो पानी बन गया, उसका 80% 90% वॉल्यूम घट गया और सील्ड है कंटेनर, तो फिर बाहर का प्रेशर की वजह से वो चिपक जाएगा। हवा का प्रेशर तो स्टैंडर्ड ही है, फिर भी ये जरूरी नहीं है हर बार के प्रेशर बढ़े या घटे। अगर वैक्यूम है तो भी हो सकता है अंदर वैक्यूम हो गया, समझे ना।
हाँ, मैं आपकी बात से बिल्कुल एग्री करता हूँ कि ये इस टाइप के कोलैप्सिंग मोटर टैंकर्स में हमें बहुत नजर आते हैं। नॉर्मली इंडस्ट्रियल इक्विपमेंट्स में कम आते हैं, लेकिन ये जो डीजल पेट्रोल की टैंकर्स हैं, इनमें इम्प्लोजन के केसेस साधन है। आप गूगल और यूट्यूब पे देखेंगे, ढूंढेंगे, तो आपको लाइव वीडियो मिल जाएंगी उसकी कि कैसे वो कोलैप्स होते हैं ऐसे, क्योंकि जब ये पेट्रोल डीजल एक जगह से दूसरी जगह कैरी होता है तो इसका टेम्परेचर वेरिएशन आता है। अगर पहाड़ पे जाके अगर वो पहुंचा और वहां पे वैक्यूम क्रिएट हुआ तो वो कोलैप्स करेगा। पिचक जाते हैं, फटते तो कम है लेकिन पिचक जाते हैं, डिफॉर्मिटी आती है, फेल्योर नहीं आता है। यस
Bhatia sir,
यस सर,
earlier also we have
yes, we discussed it
lot of
earlier
discussion.
also. Yes, yes.
There are two circumstances we discussed. One is climatic condition and
Yes.
internal material phenomena,
Yes.
chemical phenomena.
Yes.
If at all there is a density change within the vessel
Yes.
because of either by climatic condition or by its inherent
For any reason, for any
phenomena,
reason.
when the density changed,
Yeah.
that different density differential will be compensated by, will be creating the vacuum within the vessel.
Absolutely.
Then there will be an implosion. And another condition what we discussed, whenever there is a forcible unloading from the vessel
Yes.
with an external force like pumping and all, these two circumstances only can create the implosion. That's what my
Yes, 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 yes. Now this is about insurable interest. I was reading. Very frankly speaking, this is what is the issue I wanted to put, that surveyors and insurance companies do not take it. If my wife is the owner of a premises where I am running my business, don't I have the insurable interest in my wife's property? And that is what is to be discussed and resolved by the surveyors, and put it before the insurance company that we should be judicious in saying it. I can insure my wife for her life. I can insure my wife for her medical. I can insure my children for medical insurance. But their property, I cannot insure it. That does not sound sense. Either it must go to the court where they should decide that where the insurable interest. Here it is a blood relation of a joint family only. I could not further understand this part, but this is what it is, that he was in possession of a business of a joint family property and insuring it too, which is now being controversial. So I am very sure that such properties where insurable interest does exist. Let me give you a brief further. There are 13 such relations which are considered to be relative in Company Act. In Company Act, there are 13 such relations which are defined that they are interrelated. If you are there are various clauses of the company where these relations are important. So in those 13 relations, we have the insurable interest for sure. So this is one point which is being differently seen by insurers and surveyors and does deserve in deliberation, discussions, and insurable interest is there, in my opinion. Let the people also discuss. We should invite some of the policymakers also on this issue. Yes.
Okay. So thank you, sir. Thank you very much for the deliberation, sir. Vishal Gupta, sir, कुछ कहना चाह रहे हैं?
सर भाटिया साहब ने ठीक बोला है, उसमें इंश्योरेंसबल इंटरेस्ट है और कोई जरूरी नहीं कि बहुत सारी चीजें ऐसी होती जिसमें कि लीगल एग्रीमेंट की जरूरत हो. By practical means, he was using it for last 25 years. He was paying premium for that property for last 25 years. For what insurance company was taking premium without undertaking the risk? It is not possible. And again, if there is any loss to the property, to the building, the insured is supposed to get it restated, repaired. So in that case, it should be given, मतलब policy में admissible होना चाहिए. This is It was the point yesterday also I pointed out, because we are here 60% or 60-70% we are here. If we are resolving anything, we should refer it to the insurer and to IRD also, so that we can have a uniform policy on all these disputed, confusing points. Right, sir? Thank you.
Thank you, Vishalji. May I request Mr. Repaka Srinivas Rao, sir, your deliberations are on it. Srinivas Rao, sir.
Actually, I couldn't follow due to some call.
The question is on screen, sir.
Sir, he joined lately, actually.
Okay, okay. No, question is on the screen.
Regarding this insurable interest, sir?
Yeah.
It cannot be payable, sir.
Okay.
He has to, because I have seen that proprietor is one and uncle's name something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there is no direct insurable interest, sir, as per my knowledge.
Okay, sir. Yes. Thank you, sir. Anyone else who wants to put his deliberation on this? Yes, we may have some difference of opinion on it, sir. Accept it. We are here to discuss that only, sir. Exactly, we want that it should come out. This is the basic, the gray area, where we should come to a conclusion, sir. That is what we wish.
Sharma,
yes, sir.
Nitin Sharma here.
नितिन जी बोल.
ये जो क्वेश्चन है कि अंकल के जो लीगली है, they must be living as a joint family. Legally, if you say the family is what? Family is your husband, your wife, and your children. And if your father and mother, they are dependent, then it is called a family, as per the definition under the law.
Okay.
Right. So in this case, what they can do, they can submit some legal agreement, of course, of previous date or any date, saying that they have given this particular building shed for uses by this particular shop owner, or who is the proprietor. And based on that, they can legally hold him liable for taking the insurance policy. And based on that legal contract, this particular proprietor can claim under his policy.
No, but नितिन जी, what I suppose आप ये कह रहे हैं कि अब आप इवेंट होने के बाद में, इंसिडेंस होने के बाद में आप कोई भी चीज बनाओगे तो उसकी तो कोई वैल्यू नहीं रहती ना.
बाद में बनाने की जरूरत नहीं है ना सर. सी, मेरा एक रिटर्न कॉन्ट्रैक्ट नहीं है, लेकिन आई हैव वर्बल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट दैट आई एम नाउ फॉर्मलाइजिंग.
That's what I told कि जरूरी नहीं है कि कोई हर चीज का एग्रीमेंट हो. It is by way of जो पुराना पास्ट एक्सपीरियंस है या पास्ट यूजेस है, उससे भी कोई चीज डिराइव की जाती है.
तो वही चीज, then that particular document will be required. That is what I am saying. Without
the problem is after the fire, if the insurance company is asking for the document, how he will produce that document.
Okay. राठी साहब ने भी मैसेज लिखा है. It is on the chat box. Insured will have to substantiate his insurable interest either by way of documentary evidence, such as explanation letter or declaration by owners of the show. The same thing he is also supporting on that line.
Legal hairs confirm करता है क्या?
Yeah. So जयेश लाड साहब कुछ कहना चाहेंगे आप इस पे? Mr. Jayesh.
In such case, the insured proprietor can obtain his legality upon the property from the authority after the original owner, his uncle was died. Then he can approach insurance company. Let the insurers they can exercise their discretion upon it.
Okay. So, any other questions, sir, on it?
Sir, Vishal Gupta, sir, please.
Sir, एक चीज हो सकती है इसमें, the cousins can make a legal claim on that insured कि this is the property you are using for last 25 years for your business purpose, and due to fire it has got some damages, so you are responsible for making the damages good. That can be done, sir.
And also, since the whatever the entity is running since 25 years in the same premises, and they are having their legal address also the same under their registration documents. That is the one of the proof for them to approach the concerned authority.
Correct, sir. Ramesh Babu, can we take Vijay Ketkar, sir? He wants to. He has put some message also on chat box. Yes, Vijay Ketkar, sir.
Yes. Main thing is that if the
Continue, sir. Continue.
property is ancestor property. Main thing is that the property is ancestor property.
Yeah.
When the insured is having his share in the property, hence he is having the full insurable interest in the property.
Okay, sir. Okay. So we have a lot of difference of opinion and their own also. Yeah, Bhavesh Nayak, sir, please. Bhavesh Nayak, sir, please unmute.
सर मैंने मैसेज किया है.
बोलिए नहीं, आपका है मैसेज सर. विशाल गुप्ता सर, please.
No. He is trying to read the question in the screen of mobile.
That is it.
No problem. Carry on.
Okay. Bhavesh Nayak, sir, please.
STFI policy with arrival clause. Equipments are damaged. Suppose insured 5 equipment damage है, उसमें से 4 new purchase करता है और एक 5th equipment जो है उसका कम कीमत का सिर्फ एक अटैचमेंट परचेस करते हैं. देन हेलो,
यस, कंटिन्यू करें भावेश जी.
तो कर सकते हैं क्या नहीं? अगर कर सकते हैं तो ओके है, नहीं कर सकते हैं तो ऐसा कोई कंडीशन है क्या?
ओके, यस प्लीज. मैंने तो सोचा आप आंसर भी दे रहे हैं भावेश भाई.
नहीं, अभी डिफरेंस ऑफ ओपिनियन हो रहा है तो सबकी राय ले लेते.
नहीं सर, अगर वो पांचों मशीन का RIV के रिलेटेड ही वो एक्सपेंसेस है which is making the machine repairs or subsequent operation, then it will be considered as part of reinstatement expenses only.
Yeah, it is less than that equipment, plus it is one kind of attachment to that same equipment. So insured can use it for attach with the other equipments. That's why they have replaced with this kind of replacement, and it is a less liability than original damaged equipment. So to me also there is no harm at all.
Now you have to add.
Yes, Shashi Bhushan ji, unmute yourself.
Unmute, please.
You have to clarify whether the policy was reinstatement basis or non-reinstatement basis. Because for this policy, which we are dealing having 2 types. So please explain. Your policy was with a reinstatement clause or without?
Sir, it is written there. That
reinstatement clause.
Written there, I am not.
Yes, on the top it is there.
Yes.
RIV clause.
Sorry.
Okay.
Clause.
Okay. Thank you.
भावेश भाई
जी सर,
आपका भी वर्जन बता दीजिए ना सर.
मैंने तो बोला मेरे ओपिनियन से तो दे सकते हैं, इसके लिए मैं बोला कि सबके राय ले रहे. Okay. So nice going on, sir. We are cross 10 minutes to our subscribe time, sir. Any more question? We are having more 5 minutes. We can add on. Please come out with that. Otherwise, we will just take जो हमारे यंगर जनरेशन. अरुण जिज्ञासु जी भी आए हुए हैं आज हमारे साथ. काफी लेट ज्वाइन किया था उन्होंने, बट गुड, ही जॉइंड अस. मिस्टर अरुण, अब मैं चाहूंगा हमारे जो यंग जनरेशन सर्वेयर्स हैं वो अपने इस डेलिब्रेशन और आज के इसके बारे में बोलेंगे तो मुझे अच्छा लगेगा. हाउ दे लाइक्ड इट और नॉट लाइक्ड इट. We want real feedback from you also.
This is not liking or disliking, but any suggestion, any requirement, any expectation.
I'm raw on the speaking, sir. You have better way of presentation. Okay. Yes, please. Sir. So next 5 minutes for that only, sir, with us, sir.
Good evening to everybody.
Good evening, sir.
In fact, we have closed around 65 members, and the 65 strength is still continuing. And in fact, it's really surprising that for a non-motor survey, we have reached 65 plus.
Yes.
And
Yes.
congratulations to all the organizers and what you call, especially for our host, Mr. Mahesh Sharma sir. In fact,
Yes.
had Rati sir been there, it would have been what you call added flavor. But unfortunately, he couldn't be here. But in spite of his absence, we have been very successful in completing this particular venture, and I hope that similar such sessions will come up in future for the benefit of the surveyor fraternity. Thank you.
Right, sir. As stated in earlier, very initially, sir, that we are preparing faculties from among us only, sir. So maybe it will take more time to to come to the very fine tunings and that one. And I will say that yes, it was, to me, was wonderful session, sir, and attended by 65 persons continuously without any delay, and very patiently they just listened everything. And I will salute all of them for their for their support and the decorum maintained here, sir. I will salute to them, sir, for that, sir. Thank you all participants. And
ओम प्रकाश जी, I have a point.
बोलिए।
अभी का आज का जो डिस्कशन है उसमें मैंने देखा कि एक्सप्लोजन एंड इम्प्लोजन एंड स्पॉन्टेनियस कंबशन कुछ ऐसे पॉइंट्स हैं जिसमें आप कंक्लूजन में नहीं पहुंच पाए। मैं आपसे करूंगा कि हमारे सर्वेयर बंधु को एक प्रेजेंटेशन बनाने के लिए कहें स्पॉन्टेनियस कंबशन में विद सो मेनी एग्जांपल्स।
ओके।
थर्मल सिस्टम, प्रेशराइज्ड सिस्टम, mechanical system, all engine systems, so wherever it is related with, and so we should discuss combustion, spontaneous combustion, full day, full presentation, explosion, full session, and that should be, I think so.
As this session name itself indicates, it is a basic. Just to the perils were read.
In future.
Advanced stage we will go.
Ramesh Babu sir, please ask which topic Mr. Sasibhusan is going to take.
Any topic he will take, sir.
No. Whatever he say, we will take a deliberation from Mr. Sasibhusan.
He is having so much of material, I know.
Yeah.
Sasibhusan sir, you are requested.
Okay, no problem. I can take spontaneous combustion.
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
Spontaneous combustion.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It is allotted to you, sir.
Thank you.
Good.
No problem.
Thank you. राठी साहब ने अभी भी लिखा है, in this session we try to touch basics. Your suggestion is welcome and will be taken care, sir.
Yes.
For Sasibhusan sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. So Vishal Gupta ji.
Sir,
ये जो इतना मुस्कुरा रहे हो.
Yes, I will come up with controversies only, and I'll make one presentation. जिसमें कुछ 8-10 कंट्रोवर्सीज होंगी, जिसमें हमारे अगर 65% है तो 32 के दो टीम्स बन जाएंगी। एक जना उसको एडमिसिबल बोलेगा, एक जना उसको नॉन एडमिसिबल बोलेगा। दिस इज व्हाट
डिबेट यू आर गोइंग टू देयर।
सर वो तो उन पर आधार है ना, पार्टिसिपेंट पर आधार है कौन कहां जाएगा।
यस सर, बिकॉज़ द कंट्रोवर्सी शुड बी ऑफ दैट टाइप कि उसमें कुछ लोगों को वो लगे पेबल है, कुछ को लगे वो नॉट पेबल है। बिकॉज़ आई मेनी टाइम्स आई कम अप विद सच टाइप ऑफ प्रॉब्लम्स, and surprisingly sometimes I allow them and sometimes I myself don't allow them, so it is not good for me and for all of us. So we want to make some uniform वो, और उसमें हम लोग जो पुरानी अपने जो सीनियर फैकल्टीज हैं, जो रिनाउंड फैकल्टीज हैं, उनको भी हम उन चीजों को रेफर करेंगे कि इसमें हमारे फोरम पर ये चीज ली गई है, आपकी ओपिनियन क्या है। And I have some controversial situations that I will come up anytime within a month or so.
Okay, thank you. So आपने वॉलेंट्री आपने अपने आप ले लिया, मुझे कहने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ी ज्यादा सर। थैंक यू, सैल्यूट टू यू सर, विकास विशाल गुप्ता सर।
हो गए सर, 2 स्पीकर हो गए अभी।
Okay, so it is already 6:15 sir. Anand Alkutkar sir,
yes,
with your permission can we conclude our today's session sir?
Yes, please go ahead sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. May I request Rebecca Srinivas Rao, sir, to conclude the session?
Sir, I'm thankful to give an opportunity to conclude the session.
Sir.
Actually, I joined middle of the session, but the way of presentation by the Mahesh Sharma and Ramesh Babu, I have observed they mentioned clear-cut points. Anybody can read and understand what is the terms and condition of the policy. As per my knowledge, we should read the policy terms and condition before doing any survey of particular policy. And we have a very good team, and I am very happy to share my knowledge and to acquire the knowledge from you people. And this platform is professional platform, and it will be helpful for all surveyors. Anybody can join, and it is open platform. You people are doing your efforts to enhance the surveyors fraternity knowledge. Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Pramod Yadav, sir, is our head of our technical team. I will request him to give vote of thanks so that we can conclude, sir. Pramod Yadav, sir, unmute कीजिए.
I thank everybody for joining this session, and especially Mr. Mahesh Sharma for giving such a good deliberation, and the participants in actively participating and giving their views and sharing their problems. We hope that this will continue like this, and we will have more sessions which will be problem specific or what do you call?
Case studies.
Case studies, or like Shashi Bhushan ji said ki on spontaneous combustion. We can have a session on gradually developing faults. So we will take that up today, and yesterday's session was only for the basics. Now we will shift to the particular cases and have deliberation on that. Thank you everybody for taking time out and joining with us and giving us a impetus to perform better. Thank you, everybody. Over.
Thank you, sir.
Host Ramesh Babu, sir, please conclude. Please end the meeting.
You all, I am ending.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Good night to everyone, sir. And thank you for joining us, sir.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. सबको नमस्ते.
Namaskar.
Where?